Okay, so that is the menu and the live orders demonstrated. So now we can move on to the next step, which is promotions and then analytics. So there are two different types of offer, deals, promotions, whatever you want to call it. The first is menu deals, and this is where a deal, much like the 2 for 10, which you've already seen, already familiar with this, has been assigned in the back end and then has been attached to a product in the front end. Then we have separate promotions, and these are promotions which are not assigned to the menu. So on the face of the menu they wouldn't exist. These are actually designed for proper pull promotion purposes. So we have 3 separate offers which we'll go through, which is the loyalty offer, cocktail club, and flash promotion, and each one is specific in the purpose for what it's doing, but ultimately they're all trying to drag people who are not already there, not already at the venue, to the venue, so then they can transact. Whereas the menu deal is something that when you're browsing the menu you would say, okay, that's a great deal, I'll capitalize on that deal and I'll purchase based on that deal. Whereas this one is something where you're not there, and this is using specific promotions which are sent to you via notifications, and then you'll be generated a voucher essentially, which you as the consumer would be able to store on your user profile and then redeem at a later date. So it's a pull promotion perspective. The reason why you are there is to transact with that promotion, whereas the menu deal is not. It just happens to be a bonus, should we say, when you get there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll demonstrate putting together a deal. Obviously, new menu deal, a pretty bad name. You'd want to change that. Now here you have 3 separate things which should cover most types of deals. So discount is pretty straightforward. It's the sort of thing that we all understand and all familiar with, the sort of buy one get the second half price type deal, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. The second one is absolute price, which is much like the 2 for 10 deal that we've already seen, is buy 2 of those products and get them both for £10. So the absolute price being the £10 and the 2 products. Then the minimum spend is something like, you know, spend £30 or more and get 10% off your order, or spend £30 or more and get a free mojito, or spend £50 or more and get 20% off your next order, or something along those lines. So we're going to do discount, and this gives us a little bit more to deal with here. Now what we have to do is we have to go into the menu and designate which products that this applies to. Now what I want to do here is I want to apply it to cocktails and beers and ciders. So what I can do here is I can click it there, and that will select all cocktails, and it will select all cocktails which are the default cocktail being the single cocktail, as we saw with the menu interface. The default is always the first one listed, the first product variant listed under that product name. So I'll just demonstrate that by going in here, and if I click there again, you see it just selects the single. It doesn't select any of these. It wouldn't select this because this is actually it. So I can go back, and that's selected all of them. Then I can go in here and I'll just select all the beer, cider, and that's fine. And then I'll go here and I'll say, let's do the 50% off of the second one that we discussed already. Very understandable, simple thing. Actually, I realized that I need to actually select all at once. So there we are. So 35 products selected, 35 products selected. So what this is saying essentially is if you buy one, then the 50% is not, then it's not triggered because you have to qualify. The criteria is to buy one of the products out of the 35 here, and then buy another of the products out of the 35 in order for this deal to actually qualify. And that would be done via the consumer app anyway. So they would know that they need to go through the process of ordering certain amounts. Now, this here is another important little bit of functionality. Also here we can add new, or we can repeat, or we can extend to infinity. And I'll demonstrate what that means later, because there's another one which demonstrates that quite nicely. But this is quite understandable. So if you want to repeat this one, for instance, 35, you should repeat it again and again. We could add new ones in another way. So this now, and obviously you can amend this or whatever. And you can make these quite complicated, but generally speaking, promotions should be nice and straightforward, so it wouldn't get too complicated, one would assume. So here we are. So this little thing with the up, equals, and the down icons is to indicate which product out of the two being purchased is the discount actually going to apply against. Now, if you press equals, then it doesn't matter. Then it will apply just against whichever one you happen to order second. If you do the upwards one, then it will apply against the more expensive of the two products. And if you do the downwards one, it'll apply against the less expensive of the two products. So for instance, if you were buying a Peroni for £5 and a Mojito for £7.50, which in any normal times would come to £12.50, the cheaper product is the Peroni, therefore you'd get 50% off the Peroni, which would be £2.50 discount, which would take the total down to £10, rather than the 50% being applied against the £7.50, which would ultimately bring the total down to £8.75. So that's what we want to do, and that is a very simple thing. We can change things as we wish, and I'm going to save that. And then, because it's a menu deal, you need to apply it to something in the menu. You don't have to do it now. You can save and come back later and apply it to any number of different things if you wish. But what we'll do is we'll go and we'll have a look at what we're already doing. We're nice at setting all this up. Deal A, I'm going to apply it against that. And then let's go back. And then it says it's applied now against that. And then we can go back, and there it is. Now, obviously, this new menu deal thing doesn't actually matter. It doesn't actually need to be called anything, because that's from a back-end perspective. The consumer will never see this, but it is applied against the deal A. And what you would want to do is you would want to go back into the menu and explain that, change the deal A to get 50% off second drink on all cocktails, beers and ciders, or something like that, and make it clear what the promotion actually is, and then people will be able to maximize it, and that would be great. And they would go in and they would be able to pick their drinks, and that would be applied appropriately. Now here, let's go to the promotions. Now this part here is actually more valuable, I think, than the menu deals, partly because, as I said before, it is designed to drag people in. Menu deals is something that every establishment has. People always have deals that they put in their menu, meal deals and all that sort of things, for restaurants and bars and gastropubs and whatnot. This is something which is, again, a feature that QSkip is adding, which is a very, very valuable feature, which is obviously something that a regular establishment which doesn't have this access to users user data and all this sort of stuff could not possibly achieve. They could achieve through their own means, through Facebook and other social and digital media marketing campaigns, but they wouldn't have such clear data and such targeted data as QSkip will be able to gather. So it's very, very valuable, and this is not just data based on the people who have transacted in the individual establishment, so in John Gandy before. It will be people who have transacted everywhere. So you can use your targeting in very specific ways, and we'll see how that works. So I think this and the efficiency savings and the speed of turnover with regards to the menu and live and the ordering process, the fact that the point of sale system is taken out of the task list, should we say, of the bar staff and is put into the hands of the consumer, and which allows them to just focus on making drinks and essentially having a quicker turnover, which is obviously all good for revenue. That and this promotions are the two great features offered by QSkip. Anyway, let's go and have a look at this one first. So this is called Loyalty Offer. Again, this is not something that they would see. This is just for identification purposes on the back end for John Gandy staff. Now, this is something they will see. So you're one of our favorite regulars. To say thanks for being such a valued customer, we are offering you 25% off your next order. Okay, so we can just preview that and see how it would look when it pops up as the notification on someone's phone. So it's exactly that. It has the little QSkip logo, says John Gandy special offer, identifies exactly what's going on here, and it's very straightforward and simple. And the consumer, when this pops up on their phone, they would click into it. It would take them to the app, take them to the QSkip app, and they would be able to click just very simply store that, or you may be able to even do it just on the face of the phone actually, where you can say store, and it would be stored in their profile, and they may be flagged later on to go and essentially redeem that voucher. But that becomes a voucher. This is a notification, which then, if they then store that voucher, then they can redeem that voucher any time until that voucher essentially lapses. And the lapsing and the expiry and all that sort of stuff is designated by the establishment, by the venue, by the vendor in this situation that I'm just about to demonstrate. So that's that. Again, this is minimum spend they've gone for here. Out of the options that we saw before, they selected the products they wanted to apply against, which looks like it should be all. So just offer your next order, so it's against all. Minimum spend is actually 0 here, and then the discount being applied is 25%. And you can do discount or product. So for instance, in this situation, so this could be, for instance, if the offer was something along the lines of spend 20 quid and get a free mojito, then you'd put 20 quid in here, and then this would be product. And if you select product, then it would have a similar sort of selection as we did here, and you would just go into the menu and you would select which product, and then when that goes through on the order, obviously it would go through into the live orders point of sale app. When the bar staff are processing, fulfilling orders, they wouldn't see that it's part of a promotion. They would just see that a mojito needs to be made, and they would fulfill that order as if it had been a regular purchase, but actually it's a freebie. That's part of the promotion. But obviously this one is simpler in many ways, and you just have 25% off all products, and that's that. So we don't need to think about that. Next thing is scheduling. So you have scheduling, which is, this one is starting at 12 on the 1st. So it hasn't been going for very long. That's only been going for a few days. And then it looks like it's going for almost 2 weeks. So that's the expiry date. So this person, and it looks like it's notifying at that time as well. So clearly they when they were putting this together, they decided that they wanted to start it off and notify at the same time. So this person may have, let's say, users would have been notified at 12, and then maybe they're going out for a lunchtime drink, and they say, okay, actually I'm going to go straight there, I'm going to redeem it. They can do that. They can cash in the voucher and then redeem it immediately, or they can obviously wait and redeem it all the way until 10 o'clock on the 14th of April. Okay, now this is a repeating situation, so because these are loyal people, loyal customers, and you want to improve that loyalty. You want to get them coming back more and more. They want to tell their friends what amazing John Gandy is, and how if they transact via the QSkip app with John Gandy, then they get such great offers and whatnot. You can repeat it. So this is a monthly promotion. Essentially, it's repeated monthly on the first of the month, and then they have 2 weeks to redeem it, and then they have 2 weeks thereafter, and then it comes again. And of course, that's a great thing. And you can do it weekly, daily, or you could just repeat never as well. So now what we have here, we have targeting. Now this is where you want to specify who, in terms of the pool of users the QSkip app are actually this is actually going to go to. So what they've done here is they put in, you can obviously change this can be week, month, whatever. They've done 4 per month number of sessions that they are visiting John Gandy. So this is specific to John Gandy. 4 per month. So that's a very, very frequent visitor of John Gandy. We're saying more or less once per week this person comes, this targeting of people comes and transacts. And what you can do here, there's much more here. So this one is specific to the venue itself, number of sessions that they go and do at that specific establishment. Then you have these ones which are all non-specific. So preferred products. So what you can do there is you can designate which products the person. So we'll see later on with the cocktail club that they want people who like cocktails, and therefore they're going to go in and they're going to designate, they're going to specifically apply this against people who like cocktails. You could do it, for instance, if a pub was doing a little mini festival of craft beer, then you could specifically identify people who like craft beer. Or if they're rolling out a new pale ale or something like that, they specifically identify those people who like that, and then say, come on by, get this great discount and have a good old time drinking all this new pale ale. Now this geographical location is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously some users will allow live monitoring with regards to their location whilst the app is not in play. Some will allow it whilst the app is in play, and some will never allow it, and that will be their designation, which can't be controlled by QSkip. So as much as possible you utilize that data, but also other data with regards to users' profiles, where they've been before. If a user has continually been going to bars in a certain area, then you can assume that pattern is going to be continued, and therefore you can say to other users, this is their area that they usually frequent, therefore that is, they are designated to be part of that area, should we say, from a geographical location targeting perspective. Then you have average session value and average transaction value. These are obviously two different things. The transaction value is the number of when someone comes in, makes one transaction, and then obviously the session value is if they stay for another drink or another 2 drinks, and they have numerous different transactions within any given session. These are important to think about when it comes to promotions, because ultimately what you want is you want to maximize the session value, because the promotion is going to be applied against one single transaction. You drag them in for that transaction, you essentially absorb all the promotion cost in that single transaction, and then you hope that through the wonderful ambiance and the experience and the environment that you as a venue have, you hope that they will stick around and maybe make another few transactions, therefore increasing the transaction value, increasing the session value rather, and thereby diluting the cost of the promotion down from whatever it was against the main initial transaction down to what it is as a proportion of the whole session value. Then your average number of transactions per items per transaction is another thing you can have there as well. So this one is just clearly designed for these loyal customers. Now what you have here, this is performance. Now this is a few sort of simple metrics to determine quite quickly how an offer is performing. And you can also go to the dashboard, and this is more detailed, which we'll get to. This is in the analytics breakdown, and I'll get to that later, but this is where you can really see in graphical format, and you can do direct comparisons with other promotions as well, to see which are performing better. But here, if you just want to go in here, and because you can go and tweak this whenever you like, and you want to learn lessons with regards to how promotions are performing, so that the next time it's better, and you want to cut promotions off if they're not performing very well. So this is the number of people who are notified. So this, based on the targeting that we had up here, this has notified 235 people. So that's a decent amount. Now this is whether or not they've actually viewed the notification rather, whether or not they've accepted the notification, the voucher, or whether or not they're going to redeem it. So it doesn't matter, it's just the total number. Then you have vouchers issued, so this means that the people who have seen the notification and have essentially said, yeah, that sounds like something, and they've stored the voucher in their QSkip consumer app. See, that's a decent amount. Then you have, these are the ones out of that 142 who've actually gone on to redeem. Now, of course, because this is an app, because this is not expired, we're on the 5th of April and there's a lot still to go, this will go up. Looks like people are coming in and redeeming pretty quickly. So 41% is the conversion rate. The conversion rate here being essentially the proportion of users notified who redeemed vouchers. So vouchers redeemed divided by users notified. So essentially that divided by that gives us that, and that's a high proportion. And it makes sense because these people are loyal customers, and certainly this conversion rate would probably go up and up and up, as sometimes it won't be the same people who are notified each month, but you would assume that a lot of them will be notified each month, or maybe it won't be a valuable promotion and they'll turn it off, who knows. Then you have vouchers shared. There's a designation here where you can share with people. They've allowed sharing in this instance, so this is allowed to share with people via SMS, via WhatsApp, via Facebook Messenger and other mechanisms to drag people in, and this is partly designed as a means by which to get new customers. So you have shared vouchers, that's fine. New customers acquired, out of those 17 people, 6 of them are new customers. Now what that doesn't mean they are new QSkip consumers. They've been using QSkip, they must have used QSkip. So they're QSkip users, but they're not necessarily, but they haven't actually gone to John Gandy's. But because their friend has said, "Oh, take a look at this great offer," they've now gone there. And out of those newly acquired customers, they've only had a churn of 1. And what this means is that 5 out of these 6 people have actually not only redeemed, but have come back to transact again. So these could potentially be very valuable customers moving forward. And this other one who hasn't may yet come back, and this may become 100% conversion rate on retention. And that's extremely valuable, obviously, because in this instance, not only is this promotion cost, this discount, designed as a cost of promotion, a promotion cost, but it's also a customer acquisition cost in this instance. So you could be getting additional customers which you would otherwise not have achieved. Okay. Now the value of the new customers essentially is the average value of these 6 new customers since they were acquired. So and it's a big amount. So these people have clearly enjoyed themselves. And it's not just the first time. So this, on the first instance, this may have been quite low. Their first transaction, they may just be dipping their toe in the water, and then they say a day later, think, actually, you know what, that was a great night out, I'm going to go again, and therefore this is being peaked up. And this may go up, it may go down over time, who knows. So this is the total revenue generated. This is the whole total revenue generated directly from the promotion. So this is not the session value. So like I said, that may be made up of a portion which is the actual promotion value, and then a portion which is non-promotion value, secondary sessions and whatnot. This is purely the promotion value itself. And you have the average transaction value. Then you have the average cost of promotion, and you have the 25%, as we know, as we saw above. And then you have the average session value, which is almost twice as much as the average transaction value, which is good. And this is really the key. I mean, there are a lot of key things: conversion rate, the new customers, acquisition, but this one, the total cost of promotion, is one of the very key metrics to take account of. Ultimately, this is the cost of promotion. That 4.47 is the cost of promotion, and it's not really 25%, because these people have been dragged in on that first transaction, and then they are paying for having a second transaction, maybe a third transaction, and therefore the percentage cost is diluting down more and more and more until it's now down to 14%, which is acceptable. Okay, so that's the loyalty one. Then we have the cocktail club. So this is a similar type deal. Come try our distinctive selection of delectable cocktails, 20% off your order. So again, selected the cocktails and the specialty drinks, and then it's 20%. Simple. Nothing, no up or down, because there's only just one thing, so it doesn't actually require that, and it's discount. Okay, scheduling, it started on the 1st of February, so this has been going on for quite a while, this one. There's no expiry dates. What that means is that the people who are notified, if they take their voucher, then they can use it whenever. So someone who gets it on the 1st of February can come back at the end of the year and still use it. It's repeated weekly. And now let's get into the targeting. No shareability with this one, seemingly. They've turned that one off. So number of sessions, 0. Now what this indicates is that it's a push for new customers. This is a specifically designed promotion, the purpose for which is to attract and ideally retain new custom. Now this is where the value of QSkip is very valuable, because these people are not only using data, in fact they're not using data with regards to they are attracting consumers who have never been to their establishment. Now they've also done session value, so more than 20 quid per session, not too bad. They've done preferred products. This is a Cocktail Lovers Unite. Now John Gandy's is a cocktail bar, so they have clearly, I'm not going to go into it, but they've clearly decided to target people who like certain cocktails. Now they've selected 5. What you can do is you can select cocktails in totem, or you can go down, you can select specific cocktails or specific types of cocktails. You can gin-based cocktails, whatever. So they've probably done things which are their main staple cocktails, and they've tried to find people who like that. It's not specific to their menu at all. It's just generally drinks will be added on there, and people will be able to try and match up their targeting requirements with the drinks that are listed on this targeting mechanism. And then geographical location, 10 miles. So they're pretty wide. So this is quite a wide. No shareability with this one. I think the reason being probably because they're going to attract quite a few people anyway. So this is targeted. This is pretty loose targeting with pretty weak restrictions, should we say. And also because this is specifically designed to attract new custom. if you're allowing shareability, these people who are notified, who say, oh, there's a great offer, I'm going to share it with my mate, that mate may well have been a John Gandy's customer for many years. Therefore, it's undermining the primary purpose of this promotion, and that's probably why they've turned it off. And then you've got the dashboard again, and you've got all these things. So you see the conversion rate's not quite as high. You can see shareability is off. You can see here the new customers and the redemption, they're exactly the same because it's all new customers. And the key thing to remember here, it's weekly, but the people who redeem it in week 1, or the people who take the voucher or redeem in week 1 will not be notified again because they are now consumers. People who don't redeem in week 1 or just forget the notification, they may come up again and again. But you don't want to bother these people, so there will have to be a balance struck. Total revenue generated over the course of the 2 and a bit months that this promotion has been running is almost £10,000, so that's not too bad. The average transaction value, not too bad. The average session value is not too bad. Value of new customers, again. Now this is not the same as this. This takes account of the fact that you may have had someone who loves the offer, comes in on the 1st of February, comes back every week thereafter. That's why it's ticking up this week. Time and time again they come back, and that individual's value has gone up and up and up and up and up. There may be other people who came in and never came back because they didn't like it. They didn't like the drink they had, didn't like the environment. They said, this isn't for me, I prefer other places, and they never came back. This is an average, so you will get repeat custom. You might have also got someone who came in on the 1st of February and then came back on the 1st of April for a big session, and therefore that person is still counted within this retained custom. Again, more of these 417 may come back. This number may go up, and this number may go up or down. Okay, so that's that. But ultimately you see that the cost of promotion per session is actually very, very good. 13.1%. It's a big reduction from 20%, so that's pretty good. Now this last one it's a flash sale, flash promotion. 20% off when buying 3 or more drinks. So you've got a discount here. What you've got here is they've selected every product, seemingly. 20%, nothing to deal here. And what they've done here is they've extended to infinity. So what that's saying is if you buy 1 or 2 drinks, then this doesn't kick in. But then if you buy 3, then it kicks in, and you can buy any more. You could buy all the way 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to infinity, and this 20% will kick in. That's what that's saying. This is expired, this one, but you can reactivate it whenever you like. So this one went out at almost 8 o'clock, and it was clearly designed, this one, to drag people in. You're talking about people who are nearby, who don't spend very much per session. That's a very low session value. In fact, that pretty much captures everyone's because of the expense of the drinks at this particular establishment. Average number 2. In fact, that has to, essentially. So that's capturing a lot of people. No repeating because it's specifically designed to drag people in. Shareability is on because they want to drag people in again. A lot of people notified. Very, very low percentage because obviously people think, well, it's going to expire in 5 minutes. I don't want to go out tonight. So there's very low percentage, a couple of new customers, and all this sort of stuff, 51%. This is designed to, like I say, drag people in. You can reactivate it. If you reactivate it, then all this is, gone now. You can add this new, you can change these, you can change all of this, you can amend everything. And if you wanted to send, if you were to say, okay, we don't want to amend anything now, we just want to send again, then you would press this button and it would immediately be sent out to, again, the designated target consumer, and that would be that essentially. Yes, and that I think is all we need to do on the designation of the promotions. The next thing to look at will be the analytics on said promotions and, generally speaking, on on other stuff. Get to that next.